Stars don't always just shine. Some whisper. Some make us forget. Some call us back. And that night in the Hallian spiral, the stars fell silent. A capsule drifted through space. A non-metallic but living structure, its surface composed of crystalline veins, sending out unanswered signals. When the observation ship Eteron 4 discovered this alien object, its sensors gave erroneous readings, and the A's acted as if they had been silenced. Silence reigned throughout the ship, save for a faint pulse signal from within the capsule. When Dr. Marla Vane and the crew opened the capsule's door, a young man's body emerged. He was in a deep sleep, breathing but unconscious. His skin was almost lightless. His eyelids were closed with the exhaustion of someone who wasn't dreaming. No one knew who he was, nor did she. His awakening was silent. When his eyes opened, there was a metal ceiling around him, cold lights, and the rhythmic hum of equipment. When a voice asked him, "Do you remember your name?" he spoke only one word in his mind. He whispered it, "Ish," single quotes, TAAR, ... The doctor flinched. The word bore the name of a planet known only to high-ranking officers in the Federation, a species that had been attempted to be exterminated, the Aorians, an ancient race of intelligence whose very existence humans feared. But this man looked human. But he didn't feel human. Battery Prime, the overbuilt, domed human capital. There was no sky here, only machines and commands. Here, the man who had taken the name Kale saw his face in the mirror for the first time. He didn't remember, but he recognized it. At the same time, he didn't recognize it. Whispers echoed constantly in his mind, in his subconscious. The face of a woman with shining golden eyes in his dreams. His name was Ishra, and he was an Aure. When Science Officer Dyron Palvos examined samples taken from Kale's capsule, she realized the crystalline tissue carried biological memory, a kind of message written in organic code. Outside of human technology, beyond, even beyond, Kale underwent a mental scan. The results were shocking. His brain contained frequencies that actively used the Arraean language. This was impossible. Arraeans were telepathic, but they were closed off. They were incompatible with the human mind. Taylor Corin, commander of the Veltra Defense Fleet, saw this as a threat. "This man is either a spy or a bioweapon," she said. But her decision to keep him under observation would soon change. Kale began to wake with dreams in his mind. The images he saw could only belong to Arraeans. Children born into stars, temples growing from stars, cities living with psychic connections. And in one of those images, he saw himself, but differently, his eyes crystal blue, his voice silent. A second signal came from the Hallian spiral. This time, it contained only one word, Kale. This created panic in the Federation. Hallian was a region where time and space were fractured. The presence of life violated the laws of physics. Kale's connection to it could no longer be considered a coincidence. The Veltra Council convened. The result? Kale would be quarantined on the outer colony of Zentrum-9. However, before departing, Kale infiltrated the Federation's artificial consciousness archive. How he did this was unknown. He didn't break the codes. He merged with the system through thought. The computers obeyed him. The machines recognized his presence, not the humans. Kale escaped. Kale's escape led him to Velos Crater. This area had long been quarantined as an Arraean-infested area, but no one was aware of the structure there. At the bottom of the crater, Kale encountered a crystallized wall. Glowing symbols appeared on it, and in its center, a semi-organic sphere pulsated, like a living mass. Reaching out, he merged with the sphere. His eyes rolled back, a weight settled over his body, then lightness, a burst of memory. His voice trembled as he whispered, "I am born of the ashes of the star." At that moment, the sky darkened. An Arraean ship entered the atmosphere, silently, without war. Inside, the golden-eyed woman Kale had seen in his dreams, Ishra Vela Ann, In that moment, a telepathic link was established. Words were unnecessary. Kale recognized her. Ishra recognized Kale. Ishra, breaking the laws of her species, met with Kale. She revealed that she was an Arakit, the only being born or created between two species capable of forming a psychic link, a bridge. But this bridge required the consent of both parties for it to work. Federation ships followed the signal and arrived in the area. Commander Taylor contacted Kale from the ship. "Come back, Kale. You cannot trust them. We were your family." Kale fell silent. His eyes turned to the ships in the sky, then to the Orion ship, then to Ishra. Then he spoke. "I am more than both of you." When Kale stepped onto the Orion ship, the technology recognized him. Organic walls formed around him. When his mental waves pulsed, the ship responded. This was unprecedented in Orion history. Taylor sent a report to the Federation. "We no longer control it." The Federation opened fire on the ship, but the Orions did not respond. They simply waited. Kale connected to the ship's system. He sent his voice across all the frequencies of the galaxy. "I am not a warrior. I am the future you have forgotten, and I will turn back time." In that moment, something changed. In both humans and Orions, fear turned to curiosity. Silence turned to questioning. Kale's voice spread across the stars. No planet could remain silent anymore. Every memory leaves a mark. Some long to be forgotten. Some wait for the right time. In Kale's mind, not only the stars but also the memories. Spoke the Orion ship. El Sarin silently veered from the familiar paths of the galaxy. Its organic shells responded with gentle vibrations, its directions followed by psychic waves. Sitting within this ship, Kale felt every cell of his body belonged to this world, but he still didn't know why. Ishra, sitting beside him, silently accompanied him. Her eyes were closed, but her thoughts were clear. "Your memories are broken, but not broken. They are buried within you, and you call upon them," she said through a mental link. Kale used his mind, not his voice, when he answered. "And why do I fear them?" Ishra turned her head slightly. "Because some truths are not meant to be carried, but you are destined to carry them." The ship landed on Elistra, an abandoned moon in the Rodin system. This place had once been a human colony, but had been abandoned a century ago due to psychic contamination. Now it lay silent, and here lay the key to Kale's memories. Its surface gleamed like a crystallized desert. The sky was a decaying gray to blue, but at the center of the crater lay a still functioning structure, the mnemonic core. Ishra explained that this structure held the records of Kale's birth. But to access this information, Kale's mind would have to connect directly to the core, and that could tear him apart. Kale hesitated. Then he placed his hands on the core. When the mind link opened, Kale's eyes turned blank. His disembodied consciousness floated among the memories. A woman's voice, human, scientist. Her name was Dr. Alia Wren. Test successful. Psychic tissue, accepting REN DNA integrated. Embryo stable. I will name him Kale, for even in the darkness, he holds hope. Then another voice, cold, chilling. The Federation must not learn of this. The interstellar bridge is not yet ready. Kale was an experiment. A being was created between Aryans and humans. His fate was sealed even before he was born. Neither humans accepted him, nor the Aryans. The memory shifted. Kale is 6 years old, in a laboratory cell. Mental games are being tested. Ishra's childlike voice is heard. "I can speak to you. But why are you alone?" The truth was older than the stars. Kale and Ishra were born into the same project, never knowing each other. Their minds were linked long ago. When Kale opened his eyes, he was drenched in sweat. Ishra was standing over him. "You are not an accident of existence. You are the result of choices. You are the one who walks the space between darkness and light," he said softly. Kale's eyes filled with tears. He had always thought he had no ownership of his own life. But now, his past was not a burden, but a key, and with that key, another door was about to open. Before leaving Illustra, another signal was received. From a dark region, the Dreven Belt. It was the forgotten graveyard of the galaxy. But this signal, it was alive, and the message was clear. Kale, return. Tayla. Corin's signature. A stirring stirred within Kale. Tayla had seen him as a threat, but now he was calling for help. At that same moment, the call came from the Arraean Council. Kale's presence marked the fulfillment of the ancient golden prophecy. He was no longer just an individual, but destiny itself. Kale had to make a choice. Would he return to the Federation and test humanity's understanding? Or would he join the Arraeans, guided by a higher connection? But he chose a third path, his own. The Elsarin ship set off again. Destination, the Dreven Belt. There wasn't just wreckage there, and there were answers. As Kale walked through the ashes of the past, Ishra accompanied him. There was no silence anymore, nor was there loneliness. Stars flashed before his eyes, each like a memory, and Kale whispered to himself, I no longer know who I am, but I know what I want to be. Ishra whispered back, then for the first time, you are free. Time is not a river. It is simultaneously an abyss and an echo. Some truths can only be seen through the eyes of the past, and now, Kale had to look into those eyes. The Belt of Dreven is the black heart of the Narrows galaxy. Most ships that enter this region either fail to return or emerge, having forgotten time. It is filled not only with debris, but with twisted realities. The ship's organic walls rippled as Elsaron entered this warped realm of space. Time itself seemed to seep in. The lights lost their rhythm. Ishra closed her eyes. This is where, ... Our history is buried, she said. But your birth is also sealed here. Kale nodded. A growing pressure rose within him. It was as if his entire past was trying to fit into his mind. The ship's artificial intelligence was disabled in this area. Navigation was impossible. But Kale, consciously or unconsciously, instinctively knew the way. It was as if he remembered without remembering. And finally, ... they arrived. A massive, half-buried structure. Chronovale Station. The Federation's temporal research facility, established 400 years ago, but later denied its existence. And there was still a working energy source, the ether lens. This device opened a portal to alternate realities by converting thought into temporal vibration. But its use was lethal, and it could only be activated by someone with a psychic link, that is. Only Kale. Kale descended into the facility alone. Ishra waited outside. The doors recognized him. They opened by mind recognition, not facial recognition. He walked into the center of the ether lens. The device activated. His eyes went black. And then, he fell into another reality. First image, Veltra Prime, 100 years in the future. The skyscrapers are gone. In their place are giant, mushroom-like structures. Humans don't use technology. They have biological beings serving them. There is no federation. The star map is familiar, but the systems are known by other names. Ishtar, Caloria, Alion. Kale's names were given to planets. Second, Ishra is gone. The Arraeans are gone. Humanity is corrupt. An emotionless, mechanical, spiritually corrupt order. Kale's voice was recorded, but his identity was forgotten. Third image, Kale was never born. Humans and Aryans continued to wage war. Hundreds of billions have died. All the stars are dark. The Narrows galaxy is on the brink of destruction. And finally, Kale has become a godlike being. He has no physical form. He lives in the light, an echo in the memory of every life form for eternity. But alone, infinitely alone. Kale closed his eyes. He did not want to return. Time was drawing him in as the mind flicker continued. But Ishra voice remained anchored in his mind. Remember, you are not the end. You are the echo of the choice. Kale severed his tether. The Chronavale station shuddered as the ether lens closed. The belt of Dreven responded with this psychic tremor. Time briefly collapsed all around. Ishra aged and rejuvenated. The ship's organic walls began to weep. And Kale, changed. When he returned, his eyes were nothing but light. His existence was no longer fixed. Fragments of the past flickered with every step. I no longer see the future, he said. I feel the future. Kale could not hide this information. He had to do something to reveal the truth to the entire galaxy. Teyla. Corin, meanwhile, resigned to the Federation and hijacked her own ship to travel to Kale's location. She had chosen her own creed. We cannot destroy it. We either understand, or remain forever in the dark. Kale, Ishra, and Tayla, for the first time, three consciousnesses met in the same goal, to rebuild a galaxy, not merely by remembering, but by understanding. As they left the belt of Dreven, Kale spoke once more. I am no longer in time. Time is within me. And one star was extinguished. Then another was born. A new cycle had begun.